in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth, balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth, balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth, balls in your mouth. Swim in the ocean, you'll have balls in your mouth. Go ahead! Balls in your mouth, balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth, balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth, balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth, balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth, balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your mouth. Balls in your mouth, balls in your mouth. Don't swim in the ocean, you'll get balls in your
What's up, BOOCHCAST fans, listeners across the internet radio waves? This is Vinny Bucci, aka the Booch, and this is that time again, once again, yet again for the BOOCHCAST. What's up, everybody? It is Friday, April the 22nd, 2016. It is high noon, and it is the last BOOCHCAST for the week. That's right. That's right. We are excited. It is the weekend, and I sing it all the time, and I'll sing it one more time. Everybody's working for the weekend. Everybody's looking for the last two words of that verse, of that line, whatever it is. But anyway, super excited to be on the show today. As you guys know from the audio that was played at the beginning of the show today, you know that today is a very important show here on the BOOCHCAST. There were some original plans planned for today. They have been thrown by the wayside and saved for another day when we can all chat and talk here. Today we got something very important we're going to get into. I mentioned this briefly yesterday on the BOOCHCAST. And of course we had some callers that called in yesterday to talk about it. But of course we talked about the passing of the ninth wonder of the world, CHYNA, one of the all-time greats in professional wrestling, a pioneer in women's wrestling. And you'll notice the audio clip that was played at the beginning of the show. I will admit, I did not plan for that to play at the beginning of the show. Blog Talk Radio did that automatically, but I'm not upset about it because it was an important clip to play. Basically, it was one of the few messages that CHYNA had put out recently where she was trying to arrange a meeting with the WWE and Triple H where she wanted to bury the hatchet with all the bad – she wanted to get rid of all the bad blood that was between them over the years and that had happened recently when she made the appearance on Vince Russo's podcast and accused Triple H of domestic violence. That was definitely a major issue. Of course, it was so major, Triple H had to address it and say that it was completely untrue, that it never happened. And, you know, it's a classic case of he said, she said. I'm not going to pick a side and say who was right or wrong. I'm just stating what happened. That's all I'm doing. I'm just saying what happened. I'm not saying I'm on Team Hunter. I'm not saying I'm on Team CHYNA. I'm just saying that's what happened. The only thing I do agree with 100%, like most wrestling fans, CHYNA deserves the WWE Hall of Fame. And even though her loss is a sad moment for wrestling fans, we can find solace in knowing, and this is a mean thing to say, but I'm just stating WWE facts. Now that CHYNA has passed away, unfortunately, that actually increases her chances of going into the WWE Hall of Fame, because it's one of those things where it's easy for WWE to induct someone into the Hall of Fame when they don't have to see them face to face, when the bad blood doesn't have to be discussed or spilled or talked about, where they can just honor the legacy, and they can look at the legacy and ignore the personal issues and the bad blood that was between all parties involved. Now, of course, Triple H said on the Stone Cold podcast he no longer has any beef with CHYNA, despite the fact that he didn't think she would go into the Hall of Fame. But today is not about the bad blood between CHYNA and Triple H or Stephanie or whatever WWE might harbor towards CHYNA personally, even though they've come out on Twitter and have expressed their condolences, which in that moment for them, it's a catch-22, really, because if they don't say anything, then it's like they're disrespecting CHYNA. But when they do say something nice, it seems like they're just kissing up and doing a PR stunt. So they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. But as long as they say something nice, they can never say they didn't say anything nice. But today here on the BOOCHCAST, we are going to pay tribute to CHYNA. I have some audio clips from CHYNA's legacy, some stuff that I've found that I can talk about. Now, I should warn people in advance in case anybody wants to get into an uproar. I have audio clips, but of CHYNA. A lot of them are wrestling related, but not all of them are wrestling related. I'm going to tell you why. I don't know if you guys know this, but trying to find segments where CHYNA was on the mic speaking is impossible to find. In fact, putting things together for this tribute has probably been the hardest one I have ever put together. Like with Dusty Rhodes, it was easy to do because Dusty Rhodes was notorious for being on the mic. You type in Dusty Rhodes promo, there's like 500. You can pick and choose and you try and pick and choose the best ones you can to honor the memory of Dusty Rhodes. Roddy Piper, same situation. Roddy Piper was notorious on the microphone, so I could find things about Roddy Piper to say. I could find audio clips because this is an audio radio show, even though now we've got YouTube broadcasting. For the most part, this is a predominantly audio show, so I can't just show videos on here. So it's easier said than done. A lot of CHYNA's legacy is in the ring. So over the weekend, I'll post some videos of CHYNA, of some of classic CHYNA moments, but in terms of audio, it was hard to find. So I have some from wrestling. I have a clip from the Surreal Life. I've got one from Celebrity Deathmatch. And I even have some from her time in the porn industry. Now, before y'all freak out, I want you to know I don't have any sex scenes. I'm not going to play audio sex to CHYNA going, oh my God. I'm not doing that. It's just that in some of her pornos, there were times where CHYNA just spoke to the camera. They did like when she did Backdoor to CHYNA, there was an interview portion where they interviewed CHYNA, and then they would segue in to the sex scenes and all that. So I went on the internet, found the porno, fast forward through the sex scenes, and got to the talking, which I know as a heterosexual man, that makes me sound very, 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 very gay. In fact, I feel gay just saying that. But for the purpose of radio, I think I should get a free pass on that. But you can tell me. Call in at 347-838-8433. Let me know if I deserve a free pass. Also, throughout the show today, if you want to call in as a wrestling fan and share any thoughts you want on the legacy of CHYNA, you can call in. However, I do have one rule, and I'm going to adjust this, make this clear before I move on. For those of you who may not know, I am aware that even though CHYNA had passed away a few days ago, we also lost another celebrity. Prince has passed away. which unfortunately caused CHYNA to go through what I like to call the Farrah Fawcett effect. And what I mean by that is, years ago, back in 2009, Farrah Fawcett died of cancer. And Farrah Fawcett was a big name in the 80s. She was part of the Charlie's Angels, one of the all-time great actresses. And back in the day, she was one of the hottest women in Hollywood in her prime. So when Farrah Fawcett passed away, well, the same day, Michael Jackson passed away. And once Michael Jackson passed away, nobody gave a damn about Farrah Fawcett anymore. Like they dropped the casket. They just dropped the casket in the ground and ran to their TV. Even the people at the funeral, they just dropped the casket in the ground, ran to their television sets, and tuned in to hear about the passing of Michael Jackson. And he had a funeral at the Staples Center, and everybody made a big deal out of it, as well they should. I mean, Michael Jackson is the king of pop, but nobody remembers Farrah Fawcett dying on that day. And my biggest fear is that that's going to happen to CHYNA, because I was seeing CHYNA clips in my Facebook feed for most of the day. As soon as Prince passed away, it was Prince, everything Prince. So what I would like to do today, I'm not paying tribute to Prince. A, because I've been so focused on getting this CHYNA tribute done, and two, I wasn't even though I'm sad that Prince passed away and I acknowledge that he's one of the all-time greatest musicians, I personally was not much of a Prince fan, okay? The only Prince song I know is Purple Rain. I didn't know he wrote anything else. So, the only thing I knew about him was Prince and the fact that he said, "Dearly beloved." That's all I know. I know Purple Rain and Dearly Beloved. That's it. That's all I know. So what I would like to do is, for all the BOOCHCAST fans and listeners out there and viewers, please do not call in today talking about Prince. If you want to talk about Prince, save it for Monday. Because on Monday, we'll talk more about Prince. Because on Monday, I'll have Desmond on the show, and he'll do some kind of tribute for Prince. He'll talk a little bit about Prince, and we'll go into detail about that a little later. But I just want to make it clear today, here on the BOOCHCAST, I don't want to accept any calls regarding Prince. Please do not talk about Prince. Because if you call in talking about Prince, I'm only going to give you 2 minutes. And if you go over the 2 minutes, I will hang up on you midway, because I am not here today to talk about Prince. Today is about CHYNA. We'll get, and on Monday, like I said, on Monday, we'll talk about Prince then. Because I'm not here today to talk about Prince. This is about CHYNA and the legacy she brought to the professional wrestling world. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, as well as other aspects of entertainment that she was in. Mostly because, like I said, to find audio clips on her was tough. But like I said, I will give, if you want to call in and talk about CHYNA, you got 347-838-8433 is the number to call in. You can chat one-on-one with the Booch here on the BOOCHCAST. We'll talk all about it. So that's coming up. Now that's going to come up a little later on in the show today. Today, what we're also going to be doing is we're going to be doing a recap of NXT. Now, normally I recap NXT on Thursdays. It's more of an NXT Lucha Underground kind of day. Well, on Thursday, during the show, I was in the middle of recapping Lucha Underground. Like I said, I had a lot of callers. People were calling in, talking about the passing of CHYNA, as well as other wrestling-related topics. So I let the callers speak. I let them speak their mind. I had one caller named Frank who pretty much called until the bitter end. And then by the time he was done with the show, I didn't have much time left. So I just finished the Lucha Underground recap and decided to recap NXT today, mostly because I was worried I wouldn't find enough audio clips on CHYNA to talk about CHYNA. So I wanted to have something to fill up the rest of the 2-hour show that I have to do. So what we're going to do first is we're going to jump in here. We're going to talk about NXT. We'll get into that right now. So we're going to start things off with NXT. Excuse me, I had to take a little drink there. And what we're going to, and we'll first talk about the opening bout of the night. Of course, this was the week after all the craziness that had gone down the week before in NXT. Obviously, I don't think we were around for that scene, but because we just returned earlier this week. But obviously, a lot had gone down in the world of NXT. But we're going to ignore that and just jump into the present day. And the opening match of the night was a true passing of the torch, I will say, in the world of NXT. And of course, I'm talking about American Alpha versus Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy. Now, some of you might be a little bit confused because Enzo and Cass have been called to the main roster. They're now in the finals of the tag team title tournament for the WWE tag team titles. It'll be between them and the Vaudevillains to see who gets the right to face the New Day. Well, Enzo and Cass wanted to have a match with American Alpha because it was the one team in NXT that Enzo and Cass had never faced. And American Alpha was able to accomplish what Enzo and Cass couldn't do, and that was defeat the Revival, Dash and Dawson, to become the NXT Tag Team Champions. And right now, American Alpha is the most popular tag team in NXT right now. And Enzo and Cass have been the most popular tag team for years. They were voted best tag team of 2015, even though they had never held the NXT tag team titles, which I still think is a travesty, but whatever. Anyway, these two men got in the ring, and let me just state unequivocally, this match was incredible. Without a doubt, this was one of the best tag team matches I had ever seen in my lifetime. Simply because of the talent that both these teams possess, and the fact that, these guys were not afraid to get physical. It was awesome. American Alpha showcasing their wrestling talent, making it very difficult for Enzo and Cass to try to out-wrestle these guys because they were simply just that damn good. I mean, and of course, Enzo and Cass, they were able to get some form of offense, but I'll be honest, Chad Gable dominated Enzo Amore. I mean, these guys got thrown for a loop. And then in the end, American Alpha connected with the grand amplitude on Enzo Amore and got the victory over the Raw and SmackDown superstars. And let me just say, this was a big victory for American Alpha, and this is one of those rare moments where Enzo and Cass lost, and I'm actually okay with the loss. Normally, I'm not okay when these guys lose because I feel like they deserve better. But now that they're on the main roster, this was them passing the torch to American Alpha, which is important for them to do. Because Enzo and Cass, their time in NXT is over. They've cut their teeth in NXT. They're done with NXT. Now it's time for them to go to the main roster and showcase how good they really are. This is their chance to prove that they belong in WWE. And the opportunity for them to do that is right in front of their faces. And it provides them with a fantastic opportunity to really, really reach for the stars. Because with American Alpha, their time is, ready. They're ready to go. These guys are truly, ready to dominate the tag team division. Although, other than the Revival, there's not a whole lot of tag teams for them to really mix it up with. I mean, you got Blake and Murphy, but they're worthless at this point. And I can't think of anybody else down there. So I think something that NXT needs to focus on right now is they need to start signing new tag teams. They need to start bringing more tag teams into the mix. They really need to look at that, because if they don't, it's going to get stale very quickly, because you've now called up both Enzo and Cass and the Vaudevillains, who were two of the best tag teams to come out of NXT. And so far, they seem to be getting treated very, very well, because they're in the finals of a tag team title tournament that had established main roster tag teams on it. So, time will tell if American Alpha is able to prove that they've got what it takes to make it on the main roster. So far, they're proving it. But I just thought it was a great moment for Enzo and Cass to put these guys over, make them look strong, so that way Enzo and Cass can go back to the main roster, focus on beating the Vaudevillains, and eventually beating the New Day and becoming the WWE Tag Team Champions, because they deserve to be champions. They're extremely popular. And even though the New Day is the top merchandise sellers in the company right now, even though they're the ultimate, they're pretty much the new cash cows of WWE. Despite all that, their title reign has gotten stale, and it needs to come to an end. So I'm hoping Enzo and Cass can get the job done in that regard. And on that note, we will move on to the next segment here. Let me just pull this up. Got a lot going on here. Now, of course, before the match, Enzo, I actually forgot Enzo and Cass said something before the match. I was just so excited to jump in here. So just to prove that Enzo and Cass have still got it in front of the NXT crowd, here's what they had to say about American Alpha.
My name is Enzo Amore, and I am a certified chief and a bona fide son, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is Big Cat, and he's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, realest guys in the room, how you doing?
Still got it.
But being honest, I was better before the intro arrived. That's how I feel.
He's a hater. He's a hater.
How you do? Now, me and Enzo have been doing this longer than any tag team in NXT history. And we have never gone toe-to-toe with our opponents tonight. And we will certainly find out if there's only one word to describe them, and I'm gonna smell his house for you. I can answer the question, Phillips. There's definitely more than one word to describe them. Dominant, excellent, champion.
Now, that I actually agree with the NXT commentator on. You can use all those words to describe American Alpha. And you can tell Enzo and Cass had respect for American Alpha because they said, we're going to find out if they're soft. We're not going to tell you they're soft. How you doing? And it was still a great match. And it was a great, great moment for Enzo and Cass. I think it was an ultimate send-off to let the fans know they've been the longest tenured team in NXT. And when you hear stuff like that, it makes you respect them more when they get the call up. And you just hope and pray that when they get on the main roster, they don't get treated badly. Because we see a lot of people go down that road. We see a lot of people get called up and then they get lost in the shuffle. And it can be one of two reasons. Either A, WWE doesn't know what the hell they're doing, or B, they're just not resonating with that crowd. And, you know, Enzo and Cass, love them or hate them. And I'd be shocked to find somebody who's an NXT fan that hates them. I'm still waiting to hear somebody who does, but I don't think I ever will. And that's just something that is, you know, a major deal and very important and something that, you know, needs to be made very clear. And of course, there's a variety of other things that are going to be happening on this show on the show today. We've got after the match with Enzo and Cass, we cut to the backstage area. Now, the main event of this show is Samoa Joe versus Apollo Crews. Well, Apollo Crews is well aware that he has to step into the ring with Samoa Joe. So even though a lot of these guys got called up, they're still pulling double duty for a while, mostly because a lot of these NXT shows were taped in advance. So that's why we're seeing a lot of them bounce back and forth, because they were still recording NXT shows before they were informed, hey, you're getting called up. So once those tapings are done, we're not going to see these guys in there anymore. But Apollo Crews is all set to take on Samoa Joe, and here's what Apollo has to say about stepping in the ring with the submission machine. Hello?
Joe, I can do a lot too. And I can't wait to show you later tonight on NXT. Welcome to the age of Apollo.
Okay, I messed up on the speaker right there, so the YouTube listeners didn't hear that. So I'm going to play that one more time so the YouTube people can hear it. Check this out.
If there's one thing I don't like, it's bullies. So I guess that means I don't like you, Joe. Now, don't get me wrong. I followed you for a very long time, very, very long time, even before I started training. I'm very, very well aware of what you've accomplished and what you can do in the ring. But guess what, Joe? I can do a lot too. And I can't wait to show you later tonight on NXT. Welcome to the age of Apollo.
You know what? I'm actually glad I got to play that twice. You know why? Because I can honestly say with a straight face, that is the best promo Apollo Crews has ever cut. I didn't see him as Uhaa Nation, so don't try to tell me anything about him as Uhaa Nation. But let me tell you something about Apollo Crews. That was the best promo he has cut since coming to NXT or WWE. That was amazing. Apollo Crews proving that he is arrived, that he's the best. This is the age of Apollo. Now, obviously, Apollo Crews never got to be NXT champion, but if he keeps going the way he's going, he's got a WWE World Heavyweight Championship reign in his future. Like I said, the one thing he was lacking was the promos, and it seems like he's getting better. Now all he has to do is keep that momentum going, be a little bit more consistent, get that aggression that he needs, and I'm loving it. Apollo Crews is finally coming out of his shell promo-wise, and now we're starting to see just how good Apollo Crews truly is. And when you can make that happen, it's an amazing, amazing feat. So I'm very, very glad, very, very glad that Apollo cut that amazing promo. And that made me more excited for the match than anything else. Because now that made me feel like, okay, Apollo's going to fight. And he's actually going to go for it. We're going to see something cool come out of this. So I, for one, enjoyed that promo immensely. And then, of course, after that, we cut to the next match of the night, which was No Way Jose against Alexander Wolf. Now, of course, there have been vignettes airing on NXT going, no way, Jose, no way, Jose, no way, Jose. Just all these dancing and everything. Now, I haven't been playing them because there's no point. It's a vignette. You got to watch it. Like I said, I only have audio for this show. So, you know, it would make no sense if I said, here's the latest signee, and it's just, no way, Jose, no way, Jose, no way, Jose. And I just did that. And it just played that. That would bore you to death. The only way it would bore you to death is if every time I played it, I had the YouTube video, you guys wouldn't get bored. You just see me dancing like, no way, Jose, no way, Jose, no way, Jose, no way, Jose. A little fandangoing while I do that. So it wouldn't bore you guys to death, but the Blog Talk Radio people, you'd want me killed. So I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to do is say that this right here was wrestling at its finest. No Way Jose had one hell of an impressive debut. He was light on his feet. He had heavy hands as well. This guy was mostly, now he would come out and most of the time he's dancing. So he's, so the Jose, I can't tell, with No Way Jose, but he's mostly a character that likes to dance a lot. And, most of the time when you have a character that dances a lot, it gets popular with the fans, but it makes you more likely to become a jobber whenever you're dancing. Look at Fandango and R-Truth. They dance to the ring 9 times out of 10. You're not going to be a main event player. But that didn't change the fact that the crowd loved him. And he was able to stagger a series of home run swinging double axe handles, winding up with a big right hand. And in the end, No Way Jose won the match. And of course, after the match, they're playing the song, No Way Jose, No Way Jose, No Way Jose. And there's Jose just dancing for the crowd. And that crowd got livened up. And that is a key thing, to get a crowd reaction. Now, is No Way Jose going to be a future NXT champion? I don't know. Will he be a main event player on the main roster? Probably not. But if you can entertain a crowd like that and be a great wrestler, he'll still have a job and he'll still make good money. And for some of these wrestlers, that can be enough. Everybody wants to be the world champion. Everybody wants to have a main event match at WrestleMania. And you should want that if you get into wrestling. But at the same time, don't feel like if you're not a main event wrestler that you're worthless if you're able to get a crowd reaction and if you can entertain the crowd and put on great matches and have the respect of the fans and your peers, you're already, then in a lot of ways you've already succeeded. Because there are people who are main event players that sometimes don't have the respect of the locker room. And even though they got the success, people only honor the legacy but hate the man. And you don't want to be in that predicament. So I admire No Way Jose. I think he did a hell of a job in this match. And I look forward to seeing more from him. I really do. And on that note, we're going to cut to the backstage area where we see the greatest man that ever lived. Austin Aries is backstage. And, of course, we haven't really seen Austin Aries much in the ring since he defeated Baron Corbin and NXT TakeOver Dallas. He had one match on NXT, I believe, a week ago. Can't remember who he faced, but now that Austin Aries is getting settled into NXT, he still has a lot of goals in mind. And Austin Aries was being interviewed, and here is what the man had to say.
Also, Baron Corbin made some comments regarding a victory over him at NXT TakeOver Dallas, calling it lucky. What is your response to that comment? Lucky. Well, that's a funny thing. I don't really believe in luck. I think luck's just a byproduct of the decisions we make, the hard work that we put in. But Baron Corbin is entitled to his opinion. But I don't tell Baron Corbin, it's the same thing I tell everybody when they wish Austin Aries luck. I don't need luck. I've got skill. And yeah, Baron Corbin, he beat me up good in that match. He busted me up in that middle of the ring. But all it took was 3 seconds to prove to Baron Corbin luck had nothing to do with it. It seems he still wants to prove himself to be the better man. He thinks he's the better man. Well, Baron Corbin, I'm not a hard guy to find. And really, I'll tell this to the whole NXT locker room. I'm not a hard guy to find. I came here for a reason, and that's to prove that I'm the greatest. There's a lot of A-level competition here at NXT, but there's only one man at the A-double level, and that's Austin Aries.
One man at the A-double level. That is amazing. And let me just say, I, for one, Admire Austin Aries. I'm a fan. I have been. And TNA kind of annoyed me a little bit because I felt that he was, in the spotlight too much and was kind of holding down some of the talent. Not him personally, just the booking. But now that he's in NXT, I look forward to seeing what he's capable of. This guy definitely has the personality, definitely has the in-ring ability. As long as he keeps his ego in check, and by that I mean behind the scenes, not in the ring. Obviously, when you're in the ring, you got to have that ego to make your gimmick work. So in the ring, be as egotistical as you want. But when you're outside the ring, don't be too much of a dick. Because I know I know in Ring of Honor, he had a bad reputation at times. So as long as he's over that, he should be okay in the grand scheme of things. I think he should be fine. I think he'll do perfectly well. I think that he's got what it takes to make it in the business. And I want to see Austin Aries become an NXT champion. I want to see him get on that main roster. Kind of get that feel that these TNA guys are kind of coming into WWE, and it's kind of like an invasion without it being an invasion. These guys are getting signed and called in, and especially if one day WWE did decide to buy TNA, and then they would have to do like a team WWE. Would they do a team WWE, team TNA thing? Would there be another invasion angle? Would they do better with this one than they did with the WCW one and the ECW one? Time could tell. But one thing is certain, Austin Aries is an incredible talent. And I have all the respect in the world for him. And I look forward to seeing what he brings to the table in the future. So best of luck to Austin Aries. I'm going to be excited. And on that note, after that, there's a bit of a commercial break. Then we come back and we see Elias Sampson backstage, guitar in hand, until he is greeted by the NXT general manager, William Regal. And here's what happens between the Drifter and the GM.
What are you doing here? I've been listening to your songs. It seems to me that you're looking for an opportunity. What makes you think you know what I want? I honestly don't know what you want, but I know what's best for NXT. And so next week, you'll face NXT's new signee, Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah, I would have played a somber tune after hearing that too. Elias Sampson, the guy who's slowly starting to develop his gimmick. It's been confusing everybody, but now we're starting to find out where he stands, especially when he came out and sang the guitar and got in the face of Apollo Crews and was doing that song. He goes, and his catchphrase is, "What it needs is what I am." And I like that. I'm hoping they give him more time where he can sing more, write more songs, and do that stuff and really get in the face of his opponents. But to know that next week on NXT, he's going to face Shinsuke Nakamura, holy shit. Elias Sampson is going to be frightened because Shinsuke Nakamura has proven himself to be a very dominant figure in NXT already. He had the impressive match with Sami Zayn and Dallas. And then last week he took on Ty Dillinger in the main event, the Perfect 10. And now Nakamura is going to go one-on-one with Elias Sampson. And, it's going to be weird to see Nakamura in the ring with all these guys, especially since Nakamura is an extremely over individual. Like, the only thing really holding back Shinsuke Nakamura is the fact that he doesn't speak English. So I honestly believe the only way Shinsuke Nakamura can be taken seriously on the WWE roster and avoid being given a stereotypical Asian gimmick, he has to do one of two things. He either has to, A, learn English, speak it a little bit better, or two, they need to get a manager. I would go as far as to say, and I'll have to check later on, if Mr. Fuji is still alive, I don't know if he is. I don't know if he is or not. I think but if he's still around, pull him out of retirement and let him be a manager for Shinsuke Nakamura. That's what I would do. I would pull Mr. Fuji out of retirement if he's still alive, and unless he's dead, in which case I sound like a complete fucking idiot right now. But then again, if you guys know me for a long time, when don't I sound like a complete fucking idiot? Oh, that's right. It's when I'm talking wrestling. But anyway, if for some reason he happens to pass away, happen to be dead and can't manage him, then find another manager. Somebody would have to manage for Shinsuke Nakamura. Other than Mr. Fuji, I don't know too many Asian managers. They have to find somebody. Maybe the guy that was standing next to him that was his interpreter when they interviewed him after NXT TakeOver Dallas. But they got to do something. They got to put him with a credible manager that can translate for him. That way, it can make him a better person in the ring. He needs something like that to make it work. Hell, Jason Albert was in Japan. He'll probably know what to say. You could probably put him back in like a Tensai gimmick, but instead of coming out as Tensai, like just let him be like Tensai in a suit, and let him be an interpreter for him. He can be like a manager at ringside that interferes or does whatever. Like that could probably help Shinsuke Nakamura avoid the stereotypes. Because if they don't know how to speak English, it's going to be tough to become a main roster superstar, regardless of how good you are. Because one of the key things is being able to cut promos. If you can't speak English, nobody knows what you're talking about. And that's one of the main reasons why I don't really recap New Japan much. I can't understand a word they're saying at the time. And they get English interpreters, but the English interpreter doesn't have the level of passion or personality that the wrestler has. So it becomes boring very quickly, at least for me anyway. I saw Wrestle Kingdom 9, but that was only because Jim Ross was doing commentary. So, I don't know. Maybe I just need to figure out another avenue. But anyway, we now know that next week, Elias Sampson will take on Shinsuke Nakamura. It's going to be one hell of a match. And on that note, we move on to the next match of the night. And we got Nia Jax versus Deonna Purrazzo. And of course, they're trying to establish Nia Jax as one of the top challengers and contenders to the NXT Women's Champion, who is Asuka. And, and with Asuka, obviously they want to prove and establish that, she's an incredible champion. She's undefeated. She ended Bayley's title reign. And now Nia Jax is trying to get herself in the title picture. So she pretty much goes out there by basically dismantling Deonna Purrazzo within minutes. She just beats the hell out of her, tosses her around the ring, hits her leg drop, and then 1, 2, 3, Nia Jax wins the match. Now, obviously, Nia Jax is proving herself to be an incredible competitor. In fact, at this point, I see her being the only person that could end the streak of Asuka, and I would love to see that happen. Obviously not now, but down the road, I would like to see. I would like Asuka to get a couple of victories under her belt, put on some good matches with some of the other divas. And I'm just going to call them divas because it's easier for me, because women wrestlers have too many goddamn syllables and I'm not going to waste time. So with any of the other divas, and just, and then when it's over, have Nia Jax come in and end the streak. I would like to see that happen. I think it'd be great. I think it'd be best for business. And I think that it would help the division in the long run. And what I also like to see in the future is I really think Deonna Purrazzo needs to stop being treated like a jobber. Like right now is just ridiculous. I'm saying unless Deonna Purrazzo is still training and you don't plan on making her a full-fledged NXT diva yet, it's like Deonna Purrazzo goes out there and pretty much gets her ass handed to her on a consistent basis. Like every week she's out there, boom, being taken down, boom, being taken down, boom, being taken down. And, you know, I don't think in the NXT women's division right now you can afford to have anybody just be a plain old jobber, because it's next to impossible to reset. Otherwise, it's going to be next to impossible to shuffle the deck, because that's a devastating loss. Because like I said, ever since Charlotte, Becky, and Sasha got called up, it's been a nightmare with the women's division. It's not what it used to be. And to have somebody be a jobber like that doesn't help the division at all, especially if you're going to wait a long, 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 long time to crown yourself a champion, to crown a new champion. So I just don't see it helping. It doesn't help Deonna Purrazzo at all, but it's establishing Nia Jax. But at this point, we already know Nia Jax can dominate. Now we need to have Nia Jax proving that she can put on long-winded matches. Like she proved that with a couple of people, especially with Bayley in London. But you don't want her ending up like Baron Corbin, where they straight up hate her because they think she can't wrestle. You want to create the ability that she can wrestle and not just be some big girl that runs around the ring. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a situation where the fans will be doing this.
Someone's a big fat bitch. I'll steal your cellulite.
See, that's no good. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, after this match, we cut to the backstage area again, where we see Bayley being interviewed. This is one of the interviews she's done since losing the women's title. And she knows that next week, Asuka's involved in a match, I believe, against Eva Marie. And they ask Bayley, of course, being the former NXT Women's Champion, they want her thoughts on the issue. And here's what Bayley had to say about the upcoming match between Asuka and Eva Marie.
Bayley, now next week, Eva Marie and Asuka face each other. You've had the opportunity to face both of them in the ring. What can the NXT universe expect?
Well, Asuka is the NXT Women's Champion for a reason. And you don't have to tell me how lethal she can be in the ring, because if you just watch TakeOver Dallas, you will be convinced. But I wouldn't look past Eva Marie either. Don't get caught up in her total divas, red carpet image, because she's tougher than people think. I've been in the ring with her, and especially if Nia Jax is in the mix, anything could happen. But all I know, as long as the women's champion is in the picture, I'll be watching.
Well, there we have it. Bayley's got her eye on this match because, of course, Bayley wants to regain the NXT Women's Championship. We know that Eva Marie is trying to be established as one of the top divas in NXT. We know she got the brief call up to the roster to team up with the Total Divas at WrestleMania, but they're still keeping her in NXT because they want to establish her character more before they bring her up to the roster. They want to at least make her a women's champion and make sure she can hang in the ring with everybody before they bring her up. And, you know, people can say whatever they want about Eva Marie, love her, hate her, whatever. But the bottom line is she is somebody that has proven that she can get it done in the ring. She's gotten significantly better. She improves all the time. It's just the bottom line is once wrestling fans have decided they're going to hate you, they continue to hate you no matter what you do. That's just a fact. Eva Marie is going to deal with the same haters for the rest of her life. They're going to spend the rest of her life saying you can't wrestle, even if you put on a wrestling clinic in the ring. They'll always make up excuses like she got carried by this person or or this person made her look good. She can't look good on her own, and blah, 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 blah. They'll make excuses till the end of time. I, on the other hand, can look at things somewhat objectively, unless we're talking about The Miz, in which case you're gonna. I can't do that. I've met the guy in person. He's a dick. I can't be objective with him. I really, really can't. I wish I could, but I can't. That's one of the rare moments where I become biased. See, I'm not perfect either. My point is, Eva Marie has gotten significantly better in the ring. And I think that if she puts on a good match with Asuka, then I think it will make people take a second look at Eva Marie and show that she can hang in the ring with the best of them. And on that note, we move on to the main event of the evening. We've got Samoa Joe versus Apollo Crews. And, of course, Samoa Joe is still pissed off that he did not leave NXT TakeOver Dallas with the NXT Championship. And as you guys know, I'm just as pissed off about that as he is. But anyway, we cut to the scene and we got we cut to the match. And I will say this match was definitely main event worthy. Both these men displayed their dominance in this match. You know, and he gained the early advantage wearing Joe down. But of course, the veteran was able to hit his fury of right hands to daze Crews. These guys were going back and forth, trading control of the match, dominating each other until Joe exerted well and got the upper hand on Crews. And then he was just pummeling him into the canvas, but that only fired up Crews even more, who was hitting suplexes and clotheslines and a picture-perfect moonsault. This man put everything in his arsenal, but Samoa Joe would not stay down. Crews tried to capitalize with a big boot, got his spinning powerbomb, but he ran right into a big slam in the corner. Then, all of a sudden, Samoa Joe hits a series of punches on Crews, locks in the Coquilla clutch, forcing Apollo Crews to tap out. The winner of the match, Samoa Joe. And I'll just say this. I like the fact that Samoa Joe won the match, since Apollo Crews is going out to the main roster. But I don't like the fact that Crews tapped out. I thought that was the wrong thing to do. I felt that Apollo should have passed out. Instead of tapping out, Samoa Joe just should have choked him out. I would have preferred that a lot more. You know, that way it doesn't make Apollo Crews look weak. Especially with Apollo Crews on a high streak since coming into the main roster. But now in NXT, it's going to be tough to see him in any more matches in NXT unless he's not wrestling in NXT ever again. But tapping out does nothing to help Apollo Crews, especially when you're trying to build him to be a babyface, to be a top star, to be taken seriously. I think he should have just passed out. You know, they've done that with so many other people, you know, choking them out instead of making them tap out. If it was somebody else, if it was like a jobber or something, I would understand them tapping out. That would make sense. But to make Apollo Crews tap out, I didn't like. Like I said, I'm glad Samoa Joe got the victory. I just wish he had been choked out. Apollo had been choked out instead of tapped out. It would have made him look strong. It would have made Apollo look like a fighter. It would have made him look like a guy who can keep coming back. But when you make somebody tap out, you've already established this is a person that can give up. And that's not good for Apollo Crews. That's just, sometimes a tap out helps. Like if you're really struggling, but the guy just reverses it or does all this stuff, or he raises so there's no way you can get to the ropes, and then you tap out. That's something that can work to your advantage. But unfortunately, they didn't do that, and they just let him tap out, which in the end made Apollo look weak, and just it did nothing to help Apollo Crews. If anything, I don't want to say it buried him, but because luckily, like I said, people on the main roster normally don't pay attention to NXT. so I won't say it buried him. But if he was still in NXT, I would say that would have been a major blow to Apollo Crews that he didn't deserve. All right, folks, and that wraps up the recap of NXT. Great show overall. Look forward to seeing what happens next week. We are watching the rebuilding period of NXT as a lot of these stars get called to the main roster. NXT does kind of suffer a little bit, but hopefully things can get back on track. What we're going to do right now is we're going to take a short break here, and when we come back, we will do the tribute to the ninth wonder of the world, CHYNA, here on the BOOCHCAST. So I will be back right after this. Hello, and welcome back to the BOOCHCAST. During the break, we played the entrance theme song for the ninth wonder of the world, CHYNA. Treat me for just who I am, which is why that is the title of today's show, Treat Me for Just Who I Am, on Blog Talk Radio. For the YouTube listeners, it's called BOOCHCAST Episode 3, just for continuity purposes on YouTube. But one thing I want to honestly say is I was, like I said before, I tried very hard to find clips of CHYNA. I will tell you right now, it is not an easy concept to grasp. or not an easy thing to find, but I found it. I found quite a few. I'm going to play as many as I can for today. If I'm too low, I may save some for a later date. I may do a part 2. But I want to say right now that CHYNA is, without a doubt, that CHYNA is one of the all-time greats of professional wrestling. And, you know, her real name was Joni Lar. And it's Lar, not Lawler. So her and Jerry the King Lawler were not related. I don't think. But they ultimately, CHYNA was one of the all-time greats of the business. You know, she first ever female WWE Intercontinental Champion. The first female to ever compete in the King of the Ring. The only female to ever compete in the King of the Ring, and the first of 3 women to compete in the Royal Rumble match. And it was just, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the all-time greats. Was even a #1 contender for the WWE Championship, but never got the chance to compete and win for it. Due to circumstances, she had lost her #1 contendership down the road. But she had been in the ring with several prominent male wrestlers like Triple H, Kurt Angle, Chris Jericho, Jeff Jarrett. In fact, when she became Intercontinental Champion, she beat Jeff Jarrett to win the belt. And then later on, she would start a rivalry with Chris Jericho, which was, I think, Jericho's one of his first major rivalries when Jericho debuted in the WWE. Him and CHYNA fought back and forth over the Intercontinental title. In fact, at one point, they were co-holders of the Intercontinental Championship, which later caused them to eventually become friends until CHYNA turned on Jericho to align herself with Eddie Guerrero, and then she became the Mamacita to Latino Heat, and her and Eddie Guerrero had amazing chemistry as well. And of course, she blazed her own trail in wrestling. Truly, truly one of the best. And then, of course, in addition to being WWE, she also wrestled in New Japan for a while. She made her first appearance at the New Japan 13th anniversary show, refereeing a bout between the Steiner brothers and Hiroshi Tanahashi and Kensuke Sasaki. She got the chance to wrestle out in Japan and make a great living out there. And then she even at one point moved to Japan and became an English teacher. That's actually what she was doing, over the last few years of her life before sadly passing away. Also, she had gone into porno. She had the One Night in China tape that was leaked. Then she did Another Night in China. Then she did Backdoor to China, which was the first one that was actually professionally done by a professional adult video group. She did China's Queen of the Ring. She did The Avengers XXX and She-Hulk XXX, both porn parodies where she was the She-Hulk. Basically, China was, modeled up to look like the Incredible Hulk, painted green, everything. But I didn't actually get to see that one, but I'd seen I never saw the whole thing, but I saw a couple clips while I was doing, research for the audio clips. And I can honestly say, damn, the makeup looked great. And she actually won 2 AVN awards. One was for best-selling title of the year, which was One Night in China, and the best celebrity sex tape, which was Backdoor to China. So in 2006 and 2012, she was able to win AVN awards as well. So she was basically one of the most successful women wrestlers ever. She was the women's champion once, and she won it at WrestleMania 17. She even retired as the women's champion after she had left the company. She took the championship belt with her, so the women's title was vacant for a few months until November when they decided to bring the women's championship back. And she was a 2-time Intercontinental Champion and by far one of the absolute best in the industry. She also made TV appearances, including Celebrity Deathmatch, The Surreal Life. She was also in, unfortunately, Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew. She had been involved in, many different aspects of her life. She's had some good times. She's had some bad times. She's made a lot of mistakes in her own life, as well as, had a lot of bad things done to her. So while CHYNA is not completely without sin, she's still one of the all-time greats. And I remember watching her on TV all the time, and she was an amazing competitor. She was one of those few girls that could step into the ring and truly wrestle anybody. And when you can wrestle anybody, that makes you great, in my opinion. So, CHYNA, we love you. We miss you. We hope you rest in peace. And on that note, I've got plenty of clips. I don't even know where to begin to talk about it. So, a couple of them are really long, so I may go into overtime with a couple of these. So I'm going to try to keep some of them short and sweet. And what I'll do is I'll take the long videos and save them. But I'll do one long video now because there's a lot of articles here on CHYNA. One in particular, I'll do the first one, which was, if you guys want to see, CHYNA's actually, her final TV appearance, unfortunately, is going to be on the Botched Plastic Surgery show. Now, keep in mind, this article came out either a couple of days before she died. So it's not like – so I was going to end up – whether she was alive, regardless of whether she was alive or dead, I would still be talking about this article. So don't think I'm bashing CHYNA in any way, shape, or form. That is not my intention. But it says here, CHYNA appearing on Botched Plastic Surgery show. Former WWE performer CHYNA will be appearing on an upcoming episode of Botched. The cable series looks at doctors Terry Dubrow and Paul Nassif as they repair patients who have undergone botched plastic surgery procedures. CHYNA's episode is scheduled to air on May 10th at 9 p.m. on the E! Network. So I don't know if this has already been taped or not. So if it's already been taped, it will air May 10th at 9 p.m. on the E! Network if you want to see CHYNA's last television appearance. If it has not been taped yet, then obviously that would be canceled due to her passing. So, and I know she's had a few. I don't know exactly what the botched plastic surgeries are. I don't know if they're her breast implants or if it was facial surgery. I definitely know that CHYNA had surgery in the past because she looked totally different from when she debuted in the company to when she officially. To when she left, because she definitely got significantly hotter over the years when she was in WWE. Because at first she kind of looked like, she was big and muscular, and and people made fun of her appearance, in wrestling for how she looked. So she had that big muscular bodyguard look, but then over the years she got plastic surgery. To make herself look more feminine, and it worked. She definitely looked a lot more attractive. But she'll be appearing on Botched Plastic Surgery. So make sure you guys go and check that out. Also, I got right here CHYNA's final video message. It says here her final message to her fans was uploaded on April 7, 2016. And it was reported on the night of April 20th that she was found dead in her home at the age of 45. In her final YouTube video, she mostly talks about nutrition and vitamins. And so for your listening pleasure, this is the final video that CHYNA ever posted. So I'm going to give you guys a list. I'm going to let you guys listen to that, and then we'll be back with more CHYNA clips. So check this out.
Morning, everyone. Speaking of this, some more water, Kristen.
And it's very important. Drink as much as I can of it. Windows. It's a beautiful Sunday. Guess what? I'll make a little smoothie. I have a little honey bee there. Outfit ready. Suitcase packed. I'm ready to go. Was packed anyway, so leaving it there. I'm ready. Let's check out the surfers and see if they're out there. Oh, they're out there. Get started. So, start off the situation by taking a smoothie. Apple, spinach, and us girls thought we were going to do, like, our healthy food meal idea, where we can deliver the food to you and bring it to you and everything. And unfortunately, due to legal issues, like if somebody chokes on whatever, they're allergic to a pine nut or something, then we need permits and all these things that we didn't think of. So just like this amazing idea. So unfortunately, that's going to happen. I got my spinach. And one last tomato. Now they already made your strawberry. You just need to quiet right now. It's me waking up all grumpy. Oh my God, already. There's someone choice that gave me. I already lost one, but it'll be them down the road. They're like, CHYNA. I don't even know if they have my number. Like, CHYNA, we can sound we'll find each other and we have it in an envelope for you. No, the thing I am getting treated like for this is beautiful.
for bringing me over more food today. Well, wonderful. Usually if we can't legally do it, we've got our ass to do it off. Then I'll tell you what. Last week to make over, I did not want to see anybody. My friends did not want to come over. I had meals, perfect packages, amazing. Now we're going to take a B12. Something I'm vegan, so you don't take the B vitamin. And that's when you start losing your hair. I've realized. Yeah, of course, that's why I drink most people use it. When I'm drinking, get more vitamins. I get a whole bottle of water and smoke like 5 vitamin C. Corn cut. I might ask Jaffa. What's on these? Wow, yeah. I'm like a rock fan, right? Like, wow, look out. That'd be pretty fucking cool. You think? Use your strawberries, Kelly. We'll pass it. That's it. But doing good. Having fun because I felt like I can express myself. Watch my friends. Really been out a lot. Okay, so let's test it out, guys, and see what happens here. Yum yum, drink it up. Roly poly fish heads, roly poly fish heads. Eat them up, eat them up, eat them up. Breakfast of Champions. Yesterday I wanted to make it to the hamburger scene. did not quite make it there. I've already gone over the 4-minute mark. I try and do the stay 4 minutes, and I keep doing like I just have to roll. It's a vitamin E pill. Morning, everyone. Looks like it's going to be a gorgeous day out there. How lucky am I? And, by the way, the construction will be like whistling and hollering. I'm just kidding, because I love it. Anyway, y'all, good morning. Have a wonderful day. Keep me posted throughout the day. I hope it'll be a quiet day and a nice day. The headphones I got to rock in. I have some family, my Filipino family coming over, my cousin, and my other cousins. They know where I live, and I'm not going to get away from them. And I just want to let y'all to know to have a beautiful day today. And I'm sure I'll be posting my things as the day goes on, because I'll have my friends here, and we'll be doing cellos and bike rides and scenes and all that stuff. So anyway, love y'all. I hope you have a beautiful day. Wake up, wake up, wake up. I'm sleeping. We're staying in bed all damn day today. It's Sunday, right? Love y'all. Peace.
Okay, and that, ladies and gentlemen, was the last video sent by CHYNA. I know it was pretty long and it had a lot of quiet, pausing moments in between, but I didn't want to edit or mess with it because it was the final video that CHYNA ever uploaded. So that's why I felt significantly to play that, because that's, unless you guys see the botch show on the E channel that's going to show up May the 10th, that's pretty much the last time the last video or last thing CHYNA's going to post that's recent. So I thought I'd just play that for everyone's enjoyment. The next clip I'm going to play is a segment between CHYNA and Chris Jericho. This one is one of my favorites. This is back when CHYNA was the Intercontinental Champion and Chris Jericho was in a rivalry trying to take it from her. And CHYNA had Miss Kitty, who later became the Cat when she branched out on her own. And Miss Kitty, as we all know, was the former wife of Jerry the King Lawler. Behind the scenes, most people didn't know that until Jerry Lawler at one point quit WWE over his wife getting fired. But then eventually Jerry Lawler was rehired and brought back after the invasion angle was over. So, and of course, Chris Jericho was making fun of CHYNA and saying she had, doing the whole PMS thing and pretty much being a sexist pig. Because at the time, Jericho was a heel, and that's what heels do. They act when they're around women. They go the sexist route because it's the best way to get heat. I remember when I watched Wrestle America, you guys might remember I had Al Getz on the show a while back. He was in a rivalry with Amber O'Neal Gallows, the wife of Luke Gallows. I remember I would see him in the ring and he would talk about, after I beat you at Wrestle America, we are going to have ourselves a feast. We're going to celebrate. And we're going to invite you, but you're not going to sit with us. You're going to cook and clean up afterwards because we need somebody to do that. And that's all women are good for, cooking and cleaning. And the women would boo and go crazy because it's great bad guy one-on-one heel heat. So Jericho goes on this rant. Well, now Jericho wants to call CHYNA out to a match the following SmackDown. Well, here's what went down that night.
I am the Ayatollah of rock and roll. Yeah, and he's also a bad mamma jamma, and it's broad Jericho and everything else. You're one of those Jericho-holics, aren't you? Me and Fink. And CHYNA last Monday on Raw, I must have really touched the nerve in you. And believe me, a nerve is the only thing of yours that I would ever touch. You always have a problem with that word. Him and Bubba, right? When I told you that you are an absolute disgrace and embarrassment as the champion, you knew it was true. And when I told you that just the thought of you being a credible champion is even more enhanced than your breast, you knew that was true. Thank you. But most of all, when I told you that the Intercontinental Championship and the World Wrestling Federation lost all of its credibility the moment you won that belt, well, that fact got in your head and whirled around, made you go crazy until you made a fool of yourself and hit me with the belt from behind like a coward. Brought it upon himself. I couldn't see it coming. I couldn't defend myself. But tonight, I won that championship belt around my gorgeous waist. Tonight, I want to beat the hell out of the most hideous freak of nature that this company has ever seen. Jericho challenging CHYNA. CHYNA, tonight you will give me a title shot, and you will do exactly as I tell you, because I am better than you. Jericho is challenging CHYNA. And we're going to get it out of here. On the nice wonder of the world, heard the words of Y2J. The virus has spread, and perhaps we will see CHYNA and Jericho collide right here, right now.
I gotta tell you, Chris, there's nothing that I would like better than to defend this title against you tonight right here on Heat.
Yeah, all right.
But I gotta stop you. No, you did. You called it on Monday. You said, well, I'm cramping, Chris. I'm PMSing so bad. You don't know. My feet are swollen. I'm bloated. Kitty, do I look fat in these?
Yeah, it's like I'm at
I
home.
feel fat.
Priceless.
I feel fat. I just washed my hair. I can't do a thing with it. I have loads of laundry at home to do tonight. It's going to be impossible.
Yeah, in your face, Y2J.
I can't. And
You know what she's doing.
And last but not least, and I'm sure you're used to hearing this, but not tonight, Chris. I have a headache.
All right, you're used to hearing that, aren't you? Yeah, absolutely. Boy, CHYNA throwing Chris Jericho sexist ways and his views right back in his face. And Jericho's comments from Raw backfiring, and Y2J not happy in the lead. The ninth wonder of the world, CHYNA, knows how to play the game. Perhaps she's finding some cure for Y2J.
Now that was one of the hottest segments of CHYNA's life. And the reason it's one of the hottest is because burn! Y2J got so burned that night. And Jericho was losing his shit throughout the whole thing. I swear to God. The look on Jericho's face was priceless as CHYNA said all that. and then walked to the back. It's the one time I've ever seen a champion refuse to accept the challenge, and it was actually entertaining. I've never seen somebody say not tonight and not be entertaining with it. They always look cowardly. But with CHYNA, she delivered that so perfectly. It was great. And I got some other clips here I want to play. The next one I'm going to play is a real quick one. This is CHYNA doing an interview regarding Jericho's actions. And you know, a lot of people say that men suffer from penis envy. But Jericho suffered from something else. And here's what CHYNA claims that was.
CHYNA, Chris Jericho wants to become the Intercontinental Champion. I have his opportunity this Sunday at Survivor Series on pay-per-view. But it seems as if the issue between you and Jericho has gotten very personal.
Well, I think basically Kevin Kelly, it boils down to envy.
Do you like penis envy? Well, we all know he has that.
Yeah, maybe he does. But I mean, it's a CHYNA envy.
The CHYNA?
No, but China.
And why wouldn't he? Let's face it. I'm bigger than he is. I'm faster than he is. I'm stronger than he is.
Oh, no, you're more beautiful than he is.
Thanks, Kitty. But more importantly, Kevin Kelly, there's something that he's never going to be. That's a champion. That's why I am. Man or woman, it doesn't matter. I am the Intercontinental Champion. So I'll tell you what, this Sunday at Survivor Series, I'm going to give Chris Jericho an equal opportunity ass kicking.
The CHYNA envy. That's got to be the coolest line ever. How did that not stick throughout the rest of CHYNA's career? Why were there no t-shirts being sold? There should have been but CHYNA envy t-shirts on the rack. I guarantee you there are women who would line up out behind the block to buy those shirts. Hell, even a couple of guys would buy those shirts just because it's CHYNA. But CHYNA envy has got to be the best. I actually have a friend. I know a girl named CHYNA Bullock. I'm saying her last name because she's a big personality in Atlanta. She's actually trying to she runs her own radio show where she does a lot of sex talk and sex questions, and it's a very, very popular site. And if those shirts ever existed, I would have bought her that shirt just to say, hey, you should wear this. But CHYNA envy is probably one of the coolest lines I ever heard in my lifetime. I think that's bar none the most clever phrase. Now, of course, we've got plenty of other topics to get into right now. This is another one. This one revolves around Triple H and CHYNA. This is one that I found where this is back during the brink of the Attitude Era. This is right around this time is where CHYNA is with Eddie Guerrero in a storyline and Triple H is with Stephanie. Well, Triple H is obviously dealing with a lot of issues in his marriage to Stephanie. It was pretty much where Kurt Angle was getting involved and causing all this turmoil, and Triple H was trying to teach Trish Stratus how to wrestle. She went for a hammerlock, and the way she was bent over to grab his leg and sweep him, Stephanie thought that she was cheating, so now she's dealing with this, and now he's just all miserable. So CHYNA comes in to talk to him because they're still friends, at least storyline-wise. They're still friends. And here's what unfolded between two old friends.
Go ahead.
You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. So, Kurt Angle, man, I just feel like my marriage is falling apart, you know?
Relationships are a tough thing. And in marriage, it's even harder. I know that whatever you have ever gone through, you'll work it out. You know, trust, it's a really big thing in a relationship. It means everything. Without it, you have nothing. I mean, look at me and Eddie.
the reason we work so well is because we love each other, we support each other, and we trust each other. Just give your wife a chance. That'll be fun.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. Thanks. What the hell, man? Stop on some little kid. What's going on, man? What the hell is it about? Hold on. What are you doing, mommy? That's it.
Hey!
Oh,
Stop it. That's remind
mommy. That's it.
Hey,
Stop, man. What's going on with you?
come on.
What?
Ridiculous.
Has everybody lost their mind around here?
Honestly, Triple H, the answer to that question was, at that time, yeah, everybody was losing their damn minds around there. And I like that. It was a great moment between Triple H and CHYNA. One of the rare moments where they're actually talking to each other, because most of the time when CHYNA was around Triple H, she was quiet, which is why it was damn near impossible to find anything on CHYNA where she actually was involved in a segment. She didn't get a chance to talk till later on in her career. I mean, she talked a couple of times in DX, but didn't get much mic time because she was mostly there to be the bodyguard for Triple H and Shawn Michaels, who did about 98% of the talking in that trio. But of course, it was a great segment. Eddie Guerrero being funny, like, you know, all they did was give her a hug, and then Eddie Guerrero freaks out. And then, of course, Kurt Angle and Stephanie, or Kurt Angle manipulates everything to make Stephanie look like she's to make Triple H look like he's cheating, and then CHYNA's trying to convince everything. So CHYNA ends up in a fight with Kurt Angle, and then Stephanie gets involved. So CHYNA had no choice. She powerbombed Stephanie, and then I think she apologized to Triple H later, but said she got in my face. I had to do something. But it was a great segment between the two of them, and you know and you could see for a brief moment, you know, the chemistry that CHYNA and Triple H had back then. You know, even though things might have been on the rocks, things might have ended sooner than expected, and crazy things might have happened. But of course, in the early years of CHYNA's career, she also got a chance to do work a segment with Mark Henry, where Mark Henry was segueing from being a Nation of Domination member to Sexual Chocolate, which is the gimmick he would have for the longest time until after the Attitude Era, when he became the World's Strongest Man and the Hall of Pain and all that. But before that, he was Sexual Chocolate. Well, they had gone on a date, and CHYNA and Mark Henry had been bragging about, you know, getting CHYNA in the sack and everything. And at one point, CHYNA decides to slowly get revenge. Because that's the thing about women, especially white women. They don't, if they're mad at you, they hold it in, and they get you for it later when you least expect it. So CHYNA brings in a special friend into the relationship. Mark Henry had just lost a match to Goldust, but CHYNA found a way to cheer him up, and she cheered him up the best way you can cheer any man up. Check this out.
I hope we're not hurt too bad, Mark, because there's something I need you to listen to, okay? Now listen. I have a little confession to make. The other night with you was incredible.
Whoa! The other night?
No, I'm serious, it was. But I'm afraid that I'm not enough woman for you.
What?
No, I'm serious. Because the fact is that you're way too much man for one woman's sexual chocolate.
Well, everybody knows that.
Right. So I want you to meet my friend Sammy.
Sammy?
Now I know you like tall women.
Hello, Sammy.
And I know that you like exotic dancers. So I have a little proposition for you. I thought that only if it's okay with you, that Sammy and I can help you take the load out of your mind.
Wait a minute, he's famous. Mark Henry. CHYNA's offering. Oh my. Well, what is he offering, King? Did I mean you don't know?
Mark Henry faints because CHYNA wants to get Sammy and do a group thing. Now, this is the thing. Most guys are going to fall for this in a heartbeat because every guy wants to talk their girl at some point in their life to get involved in a threesome. Everybody wants to do that. It's like it's a thing a guy has on his bucket list. You want to try it at least once. I've been blessed in my life where I've been able to do it twice. But anyway, and twice is all I really need. Don't get me wrong. If another opportunity presented itself, I wouldn't turn it down. So ladies, don't think I won't turn down another opportunity. But if it never happens again, then it never happens again. But anyway, this is not about me. This is about CHYNA. Anyway, what I love about this is that 9 times out of 10, if a woman is suggesting a threesome, your ass is usually being set up. But you know, guys, we're so dumb and horny, we fall for it every single time. It's like, you know, it's a setup, but you're willing to take that gamble. Like, you're willing to take the gamble that maybe, just maybe, she might actually be telling the truth when 98% of the time it ain't happening. Now, I'm going to take a break from the clips real quick to talk about this right now. There is a report. There is no sign of foul play or suicide in CHYNA's death. While cause of death has not yet been announced, police say there are no signs that CHYNA intended to die. TMZ states that no illegal drugs were found in the home. Officers did reportedly find prescription bottles, but they weren't empty and they didn't see anything out of the ordinary. TMZ reporting that she passed away at least one day prior to Wednesday evening. Her last known contact with anyone was on Sunday evening. And then she uploaded her video to YouTube Sunday morning. Neighbors are the ones who told investigators they suspected an overdose, TMZ claims. The report says neighbors told investigators that she seemed under the influence lately. So, as of right now, there is no foul play. She has not been murdered. She was not suicidal. There was no accidental anything. There's no foul play. But the cause of death has yet to be determined. Right now, the coroner's body, they're doing an investigation, and I'm sure within the next week or so, we'll be able to find out exactly what happened. But I just wanted to make that known that none of that has happened. And the police are investigating death. Also, a lot of wrestlers have commented on the death of CHYNA. We've heard Stephanie McMahon has said, I just heard the tragic news that CHYNA has passed. She was truly a pioneer in our industry and she will be missed. People are questioning whether or not she genuinely means that given the bad blood of the circumstances. And like I said, we'll never truly know, but at least she had something nice to say. Regardless of whether she was forced to do it or not, you're better off just paying a compliment and avoiding bad publicity. And then Mick Foley writing, Joni, I'm so sorry. I will always treasure our friendship and will never forget your kindness to my children. Rob Van Dam posted a picture of her in CHYNA and wrote, rest in peace. Terry Reynolds said, tell people what you should while you can. You never know if you will have the chance again. Chavo Guerrero put, I'm sure Eddie is welcoming you into God's kingdom. Lisa Marie Varon wrote, such a sad day. I'll be staying on social media for a few days. This news broke my heart. D'Lo Brown, I am heartbroken, completely heartbroken. Rest in peace, CHYNA. Shane Helm says, life can be hard and incredibly cruel to all of us. None are exempt, but it can also be beautiful. Hug your loved ones tight. Mark Merrow, very sad to hear about the passing of Joni Lawler. My heart goes out to her family and friends. Melina wrote, I can't believe CHYNA is gone. I'm grateful I was able to tell her how amazing she was to me. Hashtag to the cello playing angel. Matt Hardy wrote, rest in peace, CHYNA. May you bask in tranquility. Frankie Kazarian says, the epitome of the word pioneer. Godspeed, my fellow Kowalski alumni. You reinvented what a female wrestler is. May you be at peace. Mauro Ronaldo said, rest in peace, Joni CHYNA Lawler. Hashtag WWE. Lawler, sorry. I'm going to mess that up. It's just an accident. James Storm, thoughts and prayers go out to CHYNA's family. She was always cool with me. Rest in peace, Ninth Wonder. Tracy Brooks, She broke barriers and changed women's wrestling forever. Who knows where most of us would be without her? Hashtag rest in peace, CHYNA. And Will Wheaton wrote, Jesus, CHYNA, 46 is too young. Rest in peace. Crystal Hefner wrote, rest in peace, CHYNA, so sad. And then there's a picture of CHYNA when she first did Playboy magazine. Alyssa Milano wrote, CHYNA, rest in peace. And finally, Travis Scott, rest in peace, CHYNA, greatest female wrestler ever. And also, Triple H reflected on the death as well, wrote, someone who wasn't afraid to blaze her own trail and create a path for those who would follow, a pioneer whose stars shine brightly. And then on Thursday, he spoke with another article and wrote, it is obviously tragic, and clearly my well wishes go out to her friends and family. Brilliant sometimes, and that ability to push barriers and boundaries and be a pioneer is often connected closely with other things that aren't so positive sometimes. And demons, and unfortunately, that is the case. And then on her legacy, he wrote, she never took, and when you're chosen a path, you can say, hey, here's a path, let's go down that one, or you can blaze your own path and burn it up and create something for others to follow. And that's what she did. And that star shone bright, but unfortunately burned out way too fast. And Triple H, I admire him for being very sincere. I know they didn't get along at times, but the fact that a lot of these people, the Triple H and Stephanie were still able to put their egos aside to say something nice is helpful. Because regardless of how bad blood you have between somebody, if you're in a relationship with someone or you were in a relationship with somebody at one point, there were still good times in that relationship. And you can honestly say, hey, this person had some good qualities. Unfortunately, the bad qualities outweighed the good, and that's why the relationship didn't work out. But it's true, Triple H, CHYNA was a pioneer and blazed her own trail. And I think she's an inspiration, not just to female wrestlers, but all women wrestlers across the country. In fact, women in general, just not even if you're a wrestler, to go out there and blaze your own trail. And, that's the message people should take away from CHYNA, not the fact that she did drugs or alcohol, or not the fact that her life wasn't perfect, or, nobody's life is. And, it was just a lot of craziness in her life. And I'm glad that she was able to share that with her, share her talents with so many people. And of course, we got about 5 minutes to go in the show. So I don't know what the last video clip is going to be for today. I wanted to try to get revenge on Mark Henry, but I don't have enough time to play it within the time that we've got. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play a clip from Celebrity Deathmatch between CHYNA and Albert Einstein. Like I said, I got plenty of other ones, and I'll be playing them on a future episode where I'll do a part 2 tribute. But to close out the last clip for today, here is Celebrity Deathmatch where CHYNA went one-on-one with Albert Einstein.
And there's CHYNA, the perfect combination of brawn and beauty. I tell you, Johnny, she's equals MC Death. And there's CHYNA, the perfect combination of brawn and beauty. I tell you, Johnny, she's ready for battle.
Where's the genius? Where is he? I'm hungry.
Eva, nice to meet you. What's this? Einstein has a bit of a crush on his opponent. Okay.
Hold on, just a minute. I want a good, clean fight, so I guess I just have to settle for good. Let's get it on.
And so it begins, the ultimate contest of brave versus brawn. What's Einstein's game, Johnny? He's just taking CHYNA's abuse.
Hey, Grandpa, didn't you hear the bell?
Yeah, and I laid eyes on you, my muscle-bound alien.
Treat my opinion. The only way you're getting this ID is to clean the crap out of my ear.
CHYNA is toying with Einstein's affection, using him like a giant insect.
Are you going to defend yourself or what?
But Chadby, I am a pacifist. All I want is peace.
There's a piece of your arm. There's a piece of your head.
Make I hate to say it, but it looks like the father of relativity is a big fat boy. I could be your tutor who teach you all about gravity.
You mean the downward force that's created when I leap off these ropes?
Einstein, despite being bruised and battered, seems intent on wooing China with the finer points of science. Oh, does it turn Shakti on? Can I combine vinegar, baking soda, and petroleum to make a homemade missile launcher? Oh, look out!
You idiot. Don't talk to brandy.
When I said it really makes you hot with a basic ordinary blender, negative hydrogen ion to create my own black hole. Oh my God!
My army bastard.
Yes, it's big for Dr. Einstein's dog. It's big. No. Einstein has taken control of this fight. Oh, now, can you really drive you right? I will stick out my tongue at you like in my famous photo and look cute as a bug. Hello, Bucci.
90 seconds.
He's crossing it around his chest like it's got a tongue. Shield yourself, Johnny. Just sure. Hey, there it goes. Einstein Moses stop this fight. It is over. Ready, set, match. China is the winner.
Now that I can honestly say is quite possibly one of the funniest segments of Celebrity Deathmatch ever. CHYNA versus Albert Einstein. One hell of a crazy moment. And CHYNA getting the chance to be one of those of only a select few WWE superstars that actually got to be a part of Celebrity Deathmatch. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will wrap up today's episode of the BOOCHCAST for today. I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in live. I want to thank everybody listening to the archives. I want to say one more time, rest in peace to the ninth wonder of the world, CHYNA. This was just part one of this tribute. There will be a part two that will air at a later date. I'll have to decide which day of the week I'm going to air part two. I might just do it next Friday, but we'll still be back Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. West Coast time, with another fun-filled, action-packed episode of the BOOCHCAST. So until next time, this is Vinny Bucci, a.k.a. The Booch, saying keep on living life and take care. This has been the BOOCHCAST. We'll talk to you guys on Monday right here on both Blog Talk Radio and YouTube. And one more time, rest in peace to the ninth wonder of the world, CHYNA. You were a trailblazer, an amazing competitor, and someone that every woman wrestler should aspire to be, and someone that every wrestler, man or woman, should respect. And like I said, there will be a part two of this tribute coming soon. So I will talk to you guys again on Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. West Coast time, here on both Blog Talk Radio and YouTube. Goodbye.